Good morning and welcome. Welcome to my live stream. I'm here to fight CPS, and I'm your host, Bob Pace. And we need to hang on to our children. Now, I'm on twice a day, 7 days a week. I'm on at 10 o'clock Monday through Friday, and on the weekends at 8 o'clock, which is tomorrow. And that's in the morning Pacific Standard Time. In the evening, I'm on at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Sunday, all 7 days. It's a warm welcome because I know that you're encountering a lot of issues out there with CPS. CPS is not friendly. You don't know much about them. And no matter where you're at, whether you're in the United States or around the world, CPS is bad. Now, I've talked to over 21 countries, and I've talked to all 50 states, including the District of Columbia. And I found one thing that these 1,000 people have in common is that they're going through economic hard times, a loss of a job, a loss of a home. There's been a lot of things going on in their lives. Problem is, CPS caters on those people. They really prey on the people that may not have a home, may have lost a home to a fire or a flood or the hurricane. And CPS lets it take advantage of that situation and insists they want to take your children away from you. So you got to be careful. So I'm here to help you all with anything way I can. I too was experienced in CPS. I had over 15 years. I've been fighting with them. In 2010, I lost my job, and I didn't realize that my in-laws were the lay people reporting every week from Ohio to California that things weren't true. It took me another 10 years to figure that out. But one thing I should have done that I didn't do was hire an attorney right away. Without an attorney, you guys are going to be helpless. You don't know the law. It's hard to navigate through CPS. You're like Alice in Wonderland, and you fall in the rabbit hole, and you don't know where you are and what room. And you met the Chester cat, and the Chester cat tells you to do one thing and do another, and it's terrible. I was talking to a lady yesterday who's from downtown Los Angeles, and she come from another state, and she lives over by the Staples Center, and she had her daughter with her in her stroller, and she was trying to get on a bus, and someone offered to help her. But the problem is that someone was a child abductor, meaning they steal children. And this lady didn't know that. The next thing you know, she was running down the street after this woman stealing her children. And then the police got involved, and they thought that the woman that had the child, that was breastfeeding the child, was the bad one. So they took both women in, but it was a nightmare. The police were very corrupt. LAPD was very corrupt in that jurisdiction over by the Naples Center. And here is a woman that, is trying to struggle to raise a child. And there's mean people in LA, mean street people. You cannot trust the street people in LA. Crime is rampant there. So she talked more about her story. And that brings me another point. If you want to come on and talk about a particular case, all I ask you is to text in a comment or a question. It's about CPS. Please show your first name, your city, and your county, and also your state. And if you're from another country, please show your country. Also tell me about your case from the beginning and where you are today. That's one way. You can text in. Another way is that you can be a guest on my podcast. And to do so, all you have to do is write an email to Grace, my show producer. It's grace@vincentwdavis.com. with the day and time you want to be on her show. And she will set you up. All you have to do is pick one of the 14 shows. She'll set you up on SteamYard, was the application we use, and we broadcast on Facebook. You found me in Facebook, Fight CPS. That's what led you here. And we have 7 rooms that connect Facebook to this particular YouTube channel. And I'm glad you did. And I'm here to help you. We have a lot of returning members. We had a lot of people in last night and yesterday morning that had all kinds of issues that they were talking about. And they come in slowly, but I know that they'll be coming in there soon. Hello, Jose Diaz, and welcome to this live stream. Your name is Jose Diaz, and you're from Yonkers, Westchester County, New York. All right, we've had several New York people in here. Welcome, Jose. Hello, NYP. That is Alicia. Good morning, she says. She's one of my regulars, and she has a horrible case because she's from California City, California, and they suspect her and her husband were breaking the bones of their newborn infant. It was the newborn infant had rickets, and the nurses that were first addressing the baby in the birth broke 11 bones, and they were trying to blame it on her. So I'm glad that she's in here. She has a case coming up too. So, Jose Diaz, what can we do for you? Also, NYP, what can I do for you too? And anybody else? Now, I've told about how to be a guest. I told about text me messages. Another way that you can interact in this live stream is to call in, and I'd love for you to call in. There's my number, 626-698-0990. And you can call in, and you can talk about your case, and, it's really easy and comfortable because that way you get an answer right away. So my number's up. I can only talk live during the show, but if you need to retain Vincent Davis, please call me between 8 and 10 and 11 and 1. And I'll talk to you about how to retain him. So that's my number, 626-698-0990. Now, the other number that's shown on the screen, 888-888-6582, is the law office of Mr. Vincent Davis. And there you can hire him, and he will help you. He will help you. Now, we're going to be talking about some topics today. I just want to make sure if Jose or NYP, if you have a topic, please ask me. I love to talk about it. Now, I'm going to check the Google topic and see if we can have some new CPS messages here. I have a little bit of trouble with my scrolling because when it clicks, it wants to scroll to the bottom. But let me see if I can find something here. Okay. All right, let's see here. Well, it also, my cursor separates the letters too. News CPS. So we should see something there. Now, here's the latest news here. In Detroit, Michigan, there's years of horrific abuse. 13 Michigan CPS workers sued in the deaths of a 3-year-old found in Detroit. Freezer. That sounds gruesome. Dying someone in the freezer, that is terrible. Now, Detroit sues Michigan CPS. That's an interesting concept there. The CPS is being sued for failing to protect a 3-year-old boy. Kalis Allen was found dead in his mom's freezer in 2022. Despite several visits from CPS, the child remained in his mom's care until death. A federal lawsuit has been filed against Michigan Health Department in connection with the death of 3-year-old Chase Allen, a boy who was found dead in a freezer in 2022. Now, Joe and Allen has retained a civil rights law firm, Moss and Catella PC and Marco Law, to file the suit against 13 employees of the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, the Child Protection Service Division. Allen is the father of 3-year-old Chance, who died in 22 and was later found in his mom's freezer. According to the lawsuit, the employees repeatedly failed to protect Chase despite multiple documented incidents of abuse and neglect. This case involves egregious failure to protect a vulnerable child, said attorney Vis Catella and Moss Catella, despite multiple interventions where CPS workers observed several injuries to Chase, including bruised ribs, burns, and trauma that left him permanently blind. They repeatedly returned him to an environment where they knew he was in danger. Now, Chase Allen was discovered dead around 1 a.m. on June 24th when Detroit police responded to a wellness check on a child. When police arrived at the home on to visit that morning, they found the young boy's body in the freezer. The little boy died from a hit to the head. Now, his mother, Ashley France, was sentenced to 35 to 60 years in prison after pleading guilty to second-degree murder. Now, Detroit neighbors said the 3-year-old boy found in the freezer was blind. Family called CPS 13 times that year. During her sentence, the prosecution and defense attorney agreed that the little boy had failed multiple times. Not only did the two siblings of Chase Allen witness Mrs. France putting their deceased brother in the refrigerator, one of the children was 9 years old at the time, Mr. France's direction, went to get the laundry back. Mrs. France's direction went to get the laundry back that she eventually put him in. This is a very gruesome story. And this mother, is really bad. But they're also holding CPS accountable for that. Now, these 13 employees were named for the attorneys called a failure to uphold their legal and ethical responsibilities. Legal and ethical responsibilities. There are 2 investigators and 11 specialists. They have the names here. I'm not going to give the names. In the 32 lawsuits filed this week, attorneys described in detail what they said is a pattern of neglect that dated back to Chase was just 2 months old, including multiple investigations were closed despite clear evidence of ongoing abuse. The reason why I'm reading this story and sharing it with you is because, CPS is bad in a lot of ways, but here they forget to protect a child. Here they forget to protect a child. Now, Jose Diaz says, can we sue CPS in federal court for entrapment and falsification of facts? You can sue CPS in both federal or state court. It's best to sue in federal court. State court is very laxing on a lot of things. It's best to sue them. But you cannot sue them until your case is over. If you have an open CPS case, you got to wait before you sue them. But you can sue them for any violation of constitutional or civil rights, like lying on the stand, committing perjury, like forgetting to follow through and stuff like that. So you can sue them, Jose. You can sue them. And I have an attorney that can do that. His name is Mr. Davis, and he's done numerous of civil lawsuits against CPS and won millions of dollars. Now, he works out of Arcadia, but he goes anywhere in the country. He has a retainer, and the retainer will include airfare, ground transportation, hotel, and food while he's there in your particular state. That's in addition to his regular fees that he has. And if you're interested, please call me because I'd like to help you. All you do is call me at 626-698-0990. That's after the show between 11 and 1, and in the morning 10 to 8 to 10. Now I'm only doing those calls Monday through Friday. So you have to be careful when you call me, when I can answer, and so forth. Now I'm looking for people that have anything they like to discuss. Good morning, Little Nugget. She's from San Diego. Good morning. She's an Indian tribe member. And she's trying to fight the ICWA, the Indian Child Welfare Act. I'm happy to see you, Little Nugget. Very, very happy to see you. And I think her name is Lisa. I always sometimes get messed up with the names, but I think NYP is Alicia and Little Nugget is Lisa. Now, Jose Diaz is the new person to this room, and he's from New York. I'm glad to have him here. All you have to do is ask me questions. I can try to help you because I want to help you. Now, going back to that case, geez, where was it? Thought I had it here. Well, shoot, I've misplaced the page. Oh, here it is. There's a timeline. I'm not going to go through the timeline. It just says terrible when you read how many times this case was. That was really sad. Let's see if we can find something else different about CPS. Well, here's something new. A CPS worker has been accused of stealing money, big amount of money, $1.8 million, $2 million from Children's Service. They embezzled funds. See, that's the trouble. So much money is put in there. I don't know if anybody's used Google Duck Google. It's called Duck Go Duck Go. It's a new kind of browser because I am so in ad out with all the ads that come on here. It's just terrible. This social worker, trying to read from the beginning here. A former employee of the South Dakota had been found guilty of stealing 1.8 million of state funds for the Child Protection Service, according to the news. A county jury found this guy guilty on felony accounts and aggravated grand theft. A sentence date has not been scheduled. The count is 25 years in prison or 2 maximum sentences and 15 years in prison. All I know is it's terrible. The money there. Authorities said Carol abused the department and saw herself as the supervisor of her own record. Authorities said she would then intercept the bank before immediately withdrawing. She later feed it into her personal account. More than 500 illicit transactions were made between March 21st. Wow, that is just amazes me. Well, let me go back to the room because I keep hitting escape and okay. All right. Okay. Little Nugget says something. I have court Monday. All right. She has court this Monday. Well, I want to wish you good luck with that, Little Nugget. I want you to wish you good luck with that. We have a new individual, Doot Swale. Good day to you. You're from Dallas, Texas. Welcome. Thank you for telling me where you're from. So Little Nugget says, I have court on Monday, and my attorney said they're going to ask for my son to be returned to us on Monday. Great news. I have my Zoom with Mr. Davis today also. Great. Little Nugget's been waiting to talk to Mr. Davis. You see, if you're a guest on my live stream or you call in, you're entitled to a free 15-minute consultation with Mr. Davis. A free 15-minute consultation. Now, Duet Swale is from Dallas, Texas, and she says CPS kidnapped children because of belief in the immediate harm and abuse. Now they see no evidence and say because we have homeschool is a form of isolation and a potential to foster unchecked abuse. Homeschool does not check dispute. The doctor can check to see if there's abuse. Oh boy. Crystal Goolsby, thank you for coming into my room. This is Patrick Pippin. Oh, I remember you. I was sent Pippin Time by Vince Davis, but I sent your producer the time where I live, but she didn't change it. I don't know the Filipino time, so I missed the 15 minutes. I'm so sorry, Crystal Goolsby. Can you write my show producer, Grace, at vincentwdavis.com. Now, if you're in the West Coast, Philippines is the next day. They're 15 hours ahead of the West Coast time in California. So if you go back to the east side, you have to subtract 3 hours. So it's 12 hours ahead the next day on the East Coast for Filipino time. So if she says her time is 8 in the morning Filipino time, well, that means early this morning because you have to go 15 hours back from 8 in the morning to see what time that is. I'm so sorry you guys are getting confused with that time zone. So just write her, she'll reschedule it. It's a good reason. We'll get you in there. Okay? All right, Patrick Pippin, I remember you. And Crystal Gooseby, I don't know if this is your other half, but also welcome. Now, Dewitt said, of course, they want us to sign a plan to get them back. Well, that's careful about signing anything. You need your attorney to look it over before you sign anything, because you can be signing things that are not true. Now, if you have a plan and it says you have to take certain parenting classes or this or that, read it thoroughly. If you see something you don't like, strike it out. Say you don't agree to that, so at least you get some part of the plan signed. You got to be careful because they put a lot of stuff in there that can be detrimental to your case. Now, I don't know why we have no one calling. Let me go ahead and check to make sure the phones are free for people to call in, okay? All right. Nope. Everything is fine. Wait a minute. Why is it saying 4 missed calls? That's not right. Phone G. That's on. Who has tried to call me this morning? I'm calling area code 916.
Unfortunately, there is no one available to take your call at this time. We are either assisting other callers, away from our desk, or currently closed. If you would like to try at another time, our offices are generally open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to...
Hello, 213.
Hello, this is Carly. I talked to you yesterday.
I remember, Carly. Is this the first time you tried to call in? Today?
Today, yes, it is.
Yeah.
I couldn't find you live, so I didn't think you were actually going on today. So
oh, really?
Held off.
You don't?
Yeah, I held off.
You find me on Facebook, Fight CPS.
Oh, I know that now.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm very interested in your show. I think it's great. I did a little bit of background on you, and I see that you've, been dealing with this agency for a long time. It's
17 months. Hold on for a second right now. I got to take care of this other call. Oh. Well, they hung up, so it's just that I can only talk to one person at a time, so I'm sorry. Yesterday, I know we were talking and you got knocked off. What can I do for you today?
Uh-oh. I can't hear you.
Okay. I'm right here. You hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
What can I do for you today?
Oh, I just had been getting into that really complicated background of my case, and it, after milling it over in my head, it probably would be more helpful to get into the most recent current case. I've gotten to a place where since DCFS has been in my life since 2008, I don't know anyone who can go toe to toe with me as far as the new case law, the codes, and the court rules. I think I could be pretty helpful to some of the listeners and the parents out there.
Sure. What
Yeah,
are the new case laws? I mean, what's new?
Well, the most awesome thing I think that has to do with every single person is in some sort of order. I can't say the name of the cases right now, but I have it on paper. They sort of had done away with the tender years doctrine. That's not working out for the social workers to say that the child is of such a young age that they require constant attention, and because you're on drugs or whatever, you have mental health problems that you can't take care of the kid. They've sort of done away with that, as well as saying that the parent has a drug abuse history. That's not enough to obtain jurisdiction. And the newest one that, pretty much sums up, I think, almost everyone's case is the reasonable efforts. They're really starting to attack, the reasonable efforts of the social workers to have given you a reason not to, go to court, and then, of course, to not return the child. So Judge Leonard Edwards out of Santa Clarita, he's been working on the Reasonable Efforts Initiative for a long time. That's, as you know, the first federal check and balance that the DCFS court is supposed to comply with. But I'm sure that it's the same with everyone, that they just run right through it and just, like my judge or commissioner will just say, I find notice proper and reasonable efforts. It's just like, wait a minute, how do you make findings without even asking a question? I mean, I'll, I'd be the first one to tell you that I'm not sure how they do that, but they do it. They will find reasonable efforts when there's been no such thing, but so they're making findings they're reversing for not having given reasonable efforts to keep the child at home and to not have given reasonable efforts to return the child to their homes. So that's, you couldn't ask for more. I'm pretty pleased about that.
Okay.
So that's the recent case law.
Well, I thank you very much for sharing that. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Thank you.
I can't hear you.
I said that was pretty good.
I can see you, but I cannot hear you.
I wonder, okay, it must be my screensaver. I got to turn that off, I think. Now, do you hear me now?
Yep, now I can hear you.
Okay. All right.
So that's pretty good stuff. But I wanted to mention that there's something that I found out. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Why, can't you hear me now?
Yes. There's something I just recently found out about my case, and I read my transcripts over and over. I've had, successful appeals for ICWA, and I got my case reversed recently for them not having completed the proper ICWA inquiry. However, that was just a runaround, and it was actually ridiculous. But regardless of that, I found out that the person representing my child they had a couple different people, but for the most part, I had a case just recently. It started 2017, but it went all the way through the pandemic and lasted until, I think, the end of 2023. But the county council is the one who was representing my child, and it's strictly prohibited in the court rules. So I was when it's all said and done, it's sort of disappointing to have caught that. But at the same time, it's like what is most disturbing is that they they allowed that, and it was just, it must have been in everyone's knowledge. I can't be the only one who's figuring this out, but this woman, her name is Ada Katz, she had no business representing the child. I don't know how they're getting away with that, but that was disappointing to see that. I mean, they're just blatantly breaking court rules and such like this. I could whine about the details, but there's actually a couple people that I've met online that have had the same problems with this particular commissioner who happens to have her husband is on the judicial council, so she's not getting in any trouble in any way. They've sort of got a monopoly on this, and they're cranking people through this particular court. It's really sad. It's super sad here in LA.
Oh boy, yeah. Well, where you are telling over by the Staples Center.
The most interesting thing that I realized about the court system is that it is at the discretion of the judge in the first. Oh, I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
Yeah, let me put it back here. I don't know why it keeps drifting like that. I put my phone down and it drifts. Do you hear me now?
Okay.
You hear me?
Okay. I'm trying not to turn on my TV.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I'm going to, Carly, I'm going to talk to Do It Swell. He asked a question. Okay. Of course, he wants to sign a plan. No, don't sign a plan unless your attorney agrees to it. You need to have it walk through an attorney. Swell, what?
Sure, he should.
Yeah, it's Do It Swell is from Dallas, Texas, and they kidnapped his children because of belief in any minute harm and abuse. Now, sees no evidence and say because we're homeless is to form of isolation potential to foster unscheduled abuse. Not necessarily true. If you're homeless, it's not your fault. It's not your fault if you're homeless, because you've been homeless too, Carly, right?
Of course, that's what the system does to you.
So that dual swell, being homeless is not a good excuse. I mean, you take the people that homes were burnt to the ground. They're being punished too. And then there is the homes that went through the hurricanes, the heavy rains, and the tornadoes and stuff, on the East Coast and the fires. There's been a lot of things happening. Your home, and social workers are so stupid. I don't understand why FEMA doesn't fly in trailer homes, mobile homes, RV homes, container homes. They can fly all that stuff in and put on flat areas away from the rivers, especially in the fires where there's already electricity and gas and water already there. They can do a hookup and then they can live on the driveway until their new home is built. I just don't understand. There are countless hundreds of thousands of empty homes around sitting collecting dirt. And I know that it's cheaper to buy those than it is to put someone at $300 a night, week after week, month after month. That's ridiculous. And
that's for sure.
The helicopters, you can get the National Guard can take the helicopters, pick up the trailer, drop it in there. They can block it and level it and then hook up the utilities. And those people, they can have a home on their driveway. Those driveways are big and long, and they can put a container there or an RV. An RV can be driven there. Anyway, no one listens to my ideas.
Even a guy who has an atmospheric water generator this guy Moses West, he can generate water from the air, and he's done that to different communities in certain emergencies. But yeah, you're right. Things make sense. The numbers aren't adding up. It's really sad.
Yep. Hello, Livingstone. Glad to see you here. He's one of my regulars. He comes in here and does a lot of praying for everybody. He's also has hired Mr. Davis to help him. So he's from LA County too. So we have Do It Swell from Dallas, Texas, Little Nugget from down in the San Diego way of California. And then we have Crystal Goolsby, who is Patrick Pepin, who is confused about the time zone. Who else do we have in here? That is Little Nugget. Jose Diaz. He's from New York. And then we have NYP, who's from California City, California. So I really thank you, all you people in there. Now, we're running late on my show here. There's about 2 minutes left there. And I certainly don't want to go over past my time, but I want to thank you very much for calling in, Carly, and sharing that new information about the changes. Also, I'd like to encourage you to come back again. And for the rest of you, I encourage you all, try to sign up to be a guest on my show. I can take 9 of you, so I can talk to 9 of you. On the phone call, I can only talk to 1. But you can write my show producer, Grace. It's Grace at VincentWDavis.com. And then put on one of my 14 shows that you want to be on there. But let me see here. I think we're slowly, surely getting low on our time here. So I want to thank Carly. I want to thank Livingston. And I want to thank, let me see here, Little Nugget and Crystal and Dual Swale. And who else did we leave out here? Jose Diaz and also NYP. Thank you all for coming in and supporting my live stream. I'll be on again tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Don't forget, tomorrow I'm on at 8 a.m. in the morning. That's early. 8 a.m. in the morning on the West Coast time. If you're on the East Coast, it's 11 a.m. in the morning. So it should be pretty good to get you early. So I'm on tomorrow at 8, and then tonight I'm on at 7. So I want to thank you all for coming in here. I want you to keep fighting for your children. Don't give up. Make yourself a list of questions. Ask me the next time. I'll try to answer them all. There's a lot of resources. And I've given you 2 numbers, the office number and my number. The office number, 888-888-6582. And that's where you can reach Mr. Davis if you want to hire him. Also, you need help with other attorneys. They also have a lot of the books that are nominally being charged. And if you use my last name, Pace, P-A-C-E, all capital letters, 50, you'll get a 50% discount on that newest book out called The Grandparents' Guide to Adopt Their Grandchildren, a step-by-step guide. Anyway, it was really nice to talk to you all and meet you, and I'll see you next time tonight at 7 p.m. This is Bob Pace signing off.